Welcome to the September TTAC meeting for MAPA. Appreciate everybody being here, everybody online. We will kick the meeting off and get going. We'll start with introductions. Lindsay, if we'll start on your end and just we'll work around.
Cool. Lindsay Button, I'm a transportation planner with MAPA.
Court Barber with MAPA.
Johnson, MAPA.
Morris, Nebraska DOT District 2.
Carlos, MAPA.
Pat Dowse, La Vista Public Works.
John Krager, City of Bellevue.
Eric Williams, Papu NRD.
Christy Evans, City of Omaha.
Mark McLaughlin, planner with the City of Omaha.
Jared Walker, NDOT planning.
Damian Stern, NDOT District 2.
Ed Brooks, Metro.
Austin Rouser, City of Omaha.
Mike Kleffner, City of Pavilion.
Brian Guy, City of Omaha.
Rusty Barber, Sarpy County Public Works.
All right, that's everyone in the room. Is there anyone online who would like to introduce themselves?
Dave Godican, City of Bellevue.
Greg Perry, City of Gretna.
Dan Carpenter, Benish.
Greg Ewald, Felsberg, Halton, Olivig.
Joan Green, ENA.
Alex Sick, HDR.
Matt Cox, Council Bluffs Public Works.
We also have Kane McClellan.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you all. It's good having everyone here. We'll move into item B, which is our action items. Action item for approval. We have number one, the approval of minutes from the August 22nd, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion?
The presentation should say August, not.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Item number B2 is the approval of updates to the Coordinated Transit Committee's bylaws. And Lindsay Button is going to present.
Yes. So super quick on these. I did have a printout on the side if anybody wants to review the red line edits. There were a couple changes proposed by the Coordinated Transit Committee. They were instigated because actually one of our co-chairs is no longer with the organization that she originally joined under. Per the original CTC bylaws, public transit users are eligible to be members of this Coordinated Transit Committee. So we were just going in there to remove some contradictory language regarding those eligibilities. So removing contradictory language, and while we were in there, there were a couple other updates that the committee wanted to see. So it included things like clarifying the method of restoring voting rights to former committee members. There is a requirement in the bylaws that if a committee member misses more than 3 meetings in a fiscal year, then their voting rights are removed until they express that they're still interested in participating. So this clarifies language as to how they can get those restored just by showing up to a meeting and saying, no, actually, like, this is why we missed, like, we're still interested in participating, and then they can have a vote done by the committee to restore those voting rights. It also adds provisions for virtual voting in the event that we do have entirely virtual meetings so that we don't get hung up on waylaid business. Primarily due to, we have had a couple meetings that we've had to move entirely virtually due to weather events. And in those instances, the bylaws did state that only in-person voting was allowed, so we're just updating that. The CTC is not under the umbrella of the Open Meetings Act, so virtual voting is permitted. And then an extra section on the ability to add subcommittees and working groups in the event that they decide they want to put a lot of effort into one particular item, then they can create a subgroup to work on that item. As I mentioned, red lines are available in paper format, as well as in this presentation, if there are any questions.
Okay, thanks, Lindsay. Any questions relative to the bylaw update?
Oh, and these were approved by the Coordinated Transit Committee on their meeting, at their meeting on Wednesday of this.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second by Pat. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, that moves us to item B3, which is the adoption of 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, MTP. Cool. Thank you.
Yep, so this is the second or third time that I've passed around the kind of current draft of the MTP. We're mostly wrapped up, so changes that are included from the draft that you saw last month. We removed a few completed or soon to be completed projects, things that wouldn't basically go into effect until anything that would happen before the change of the federal fiscal year. We have completed appendices A, B, and E. For the most part, we have a few things to wrap up on Appendix E. Appendix A is kind of the regional profile. Appendix B is the transportation profile. Basically, both of those go into more detail about what the existing conditions of the region are, from kind of a land use and transportation perspective. And then Appendix E is a new appendix for this MTP that focuses on the performance measures. So it's got all of the federally required performance measure information. So all of the targets that we bring through this committee and onto our board, all of that stuff will be maintained in Appendix E. It'll just make it easier for us to update that over the next 5 years during the life of the plan. We also added some details on coordination with resource agencies after we got some comments back from Iowa DOT. We also have, we've had 7 comments received so far through the public comment process. We had our public open house yesterday. We didn't get really anybody at the open house other than we did have some media come by and ask us about it. Channel 6 was there. Remaining items, we are still working to wrap up the travel demand model and its documentation, which will be Appendix C. That stuff we just had conversations about that earlier this morning. We're hoping to learn a little bit more by the end of today. We'll also be wrapping up Appendix D. That is the public involvement appendix. Can't finish it until we've finished the comment period and kind of put all of our summary of all of that in there, but most of it is finished. But yeah, we just have to put the finishing touches on it. And then ultimately there'll be a final printing after we kind of, I guess you could say, pretty up the document. What you've seen so far has been kind of rough layout of what's in there. The content won't change, but we are going to make it look a little bit nicer before we push it out to the public. And ultimately, we do want to have a kind of an easy to use project web viewer, so that's still in development too. But we'll get there probably pretty soon. And then all of this is ultimately due to the state and US DOTs by October 7th. So we'll be hitting the kind of the final public involvement pieces next week. And then next week we'll take it to our board, and then we'll also take it to our council officials. And then ultimately we'll plan for doing a TIP amendment next month. That'll kind of make sure that everything is lined up between the TIP and the MTP. That's about all I have. And if anybody has comments on it, we're still taking them through next week. So you can pass those along to me. But then we'll be pretty much wrapped up and turn it in for final approval soon, only a few weeks away.
Were the comments that were addressed, were they minor in nature?
For the most part, the comments that we received from the public were not really anything we could address with the plan. It was more, there were some specific things that will forward on to jurisdictions. There were specific complaints about roadway condition, things like that. So not necessarily something that's necessarily directly relevant to the plan. It's not, but then we did get some comments from Nebraska DOT and Iowa DOT, and those have either been addressed so far or will be addressed before it goes to our board next week. But yeah, a lot of it will just be, we have to come up with a response to a few members of the public, and we'll work with local jurisdictions on how exactly we want to tackle those.
And they were spot location.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I think one of the issues that was brought up was on the Potawatomi side, Highway or 6 and the county fairgrounds, some minor transportation issues there. This plan would not address that, but we did pass the information to people over at Pot County.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Is that the motion?
They recommend, yeah, we're asking for a recommendation to the board to, to approve the plan.
So Mike moves to recommend to the board approval of the MTP. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Questions, comments? All right, so the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to our discussion items then. C1 is the federal functional classifications update.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of requests to update some of the federal functional classification of some roadways within the region. And usually when we get a specific request about that, we figure we might as well open it up and see if there's any other changes we want to make while we're doing it, because it does take a little bit to go through the process. If we're going to review it, might as well review the whole thing. So this is basically, for anybody who's uninitiated, it defines the role of each roadway kind of in serving the needs of the traveling public. And it is you have to have a certain federal functional classification to be able to use federal funds on the roadway, depending on the federal program. But for the most part, federal transportation dollars can only be used in an urban area on a major collector and above federal functional classification. So we have, updates from the 2020 census. Going to be a few new roadways that have been identified. We've got some of that listed in our metropolitan transportation plan. And then also any older roadways that are in need of redesignation due to changing travel patterns. And then there's also a kind of a window for an overall state increase in roadway mile balancing, because my understanding is that these different categories do have to be balanced within the state. Depending on when you're doing it, you do have to kind of move things around. You can't just add federal functional classification. You might have to subtract some from other areas of the state. So basically right now we're looking at two things, and this is kind of what we'll be asking of members is for existing roadways. We're looking at kind of how the road operates today, and if that is, if the way the road is operating is should be at a different classification, we kind of want to know that. And we can kind of get a high level look at that as we're putting together the travel demand model, because we'll be looking at the base year and seeing what's what. But if you have a roadway that you feel like should be, its classification should be changed, we want to know about it. And then also any future roads that, the way that they're going to operate within the system, if they should be changed, typically elevated, we would like to identify some of those too, if there's anything that we're missing. So we're not putting out anything quite yet. We're planning on having some stuff ready to go next month. We just kind of wanted to make sure everybody was aware of kind of what the schedule was, because we are going to try to get all of this approved by June of next year. We're going to have a tool ready that basically you'll be able to go in and look at the existing federal functional classification and comment on anything you think needs to be changed. And that's kind of how we would like to run it. So we're going to ask you to go in, take a peek at your the stuff that you're managing, and let us know if there's anything that needs to be updated. And then we'll put all that together, ultimately get a package that will go off to the state DOTs and ask them for their input and see what we can make happen.
Do we send it to you, Court?
It'll be through this tool. So basically you'll be able to submit the comments right in the tool. So right where you, if we can get it all set up the way we want it, it'll basically be an ArcGIS tool. You'll go in, just be a web app. You'll click on the roadway and there'll be a way for you to then submit a comment right there. Yeah, we'll try to make it as easy as we can, and then we'll put that all together in a report that will go to the state DOTs.
Yeah, and just because you make a comment doesn't necessarily mean it will and shall be approved by the state or federal sources. It's our coordination piece. We submit, we negotiate.
Yep.
And then we'll have a final portion of it.
There'll be a conversation about it. We'll probably bring it back at some future TTAC meetings where we'll kind of discuss what was submitted and what we think needs to be changed, and then what the state DOTs are recommending.
So if we recommend a change to a classification, like let's say we have a local street we think should be a minor collector or something like that, is there a baseline set of criteria that we should base it on?
It's that FHWA 2023 guidance. So it looks at volume, land use, and other factors. how to make those determinations. For the most part, one of the things that our team is gonna do, we're currently looking at the fringe cases, right? And by fringe cases, I mean in the area where we just did an urban area boundary shift, right? We just went through this exercise a year or two ago where our urban boundary at the fringes changed a little. And we're trying to go through and capture those roadways that were normally classified as rural collectors and bringing them into urban collectors if they meet the classification. So that's some of the work that we're doing. Again, on the fringes, majority of the stuff that is getting deprioritized, that we could use help on, right? So if you have a collector that is no longer functioning as a collector and needs to become a local street, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and figure it out. Or vice versa.
So if we have a new road that's in the design and planning stages now, but won't be completed before this date, won't be built, we wouldn't add anything like that.
So we can, if it is within the 4-year window of our tip, right? So if it's within the 4-year window from now, 2030, I think is our target date from this point.
Depending on how you're looking at it, whether we're talking about the next tip or the current tip, 29 or 30. So if it's gonna be built before 29 or 30, yeah, we wanna at least consider it. Yeah.
But if it's being built and it's a local street that only provides local functions, yeah, we'll know about it, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah, I'm thinking specifically about it with Omaha truck route.
Yeah.
Which is what will likely be built at that time. Things happen, stuff. So,
Mhm.
If it's a GIS tool with the roadway segments, will you have to comment on every segment or just one segment?
That's what we're currently picking out right now. The way the tool's built is each individual segment. That's how it's broken down. We're trying to figure out a way to make it a little bit easier on everyone, because it's right. You don't want to pick every single segment.
Or if you can pick the segments and then make a comment that like all.
For all.
Yeah, from here.
Yeah,
That's,
AY's working on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So back to my example where there's no segment to pick.
I think I would
Is
just
it a
comment on
brand new
16th
road or
Street,
is it a,
cause that would get
or
real.
is the road's not existing at all? No. Not even rural, no.
We might, I'll see if we're gonna include a way that you could draw it in.
Okay.
Like you can basically just add it and
I
then
can send you the
add
shape.
a comment, yeah, I'll see if that's how, we might be doing it that way, I'm not sure.
I think we reclassify 16th Street. So I would probably just comment on that.
We'll figure it out. All right, is that any other presentation items staff you want to discuss?
Anything else? No, that's all I have for it.
Any additional questions, comments? Okay,
We'll be back with more.
sounds good. We'll move on to item C2 then, which is member agency updates. Looks like we have plenty of times. Yep. Agenda, just go around the room. We'll start over on the left end. Anything you want to share?
No, I don't know anything. I don't know if Jeff Subcheck's on the call, but I would just say city, as part of its Vision Zero program, implemented its first modular roundabout at 32nd and Woolworth, which was previously an all-way stop. Right there by Hanscom Park, so it just went in this week. I think there's still some striping that needs to take place, but they could drive through and that's all we got.
Yeah, it's supposed to be opened up this weekend. It won't be fully finished, but it'll be accessible this weekend. Hopefully done by Monday or Tuesday with all the finishing touches. And we also just finished our 2024 annual report for our Vision Zero implementation efforts. So that was sent out to all email addresses that we had that were signed up for newsletter updates. We'll have that on our website very shortly. So if you're interested, yeah, check out our website for that report.
In roundabout news, can I ask, 108th Street, I've had the opportunity to drive through the triple roundabout system there several times recently, and kudos, love it. Is there someone I can talk to about that? I mean, I think it seems like it's going great. I guess I'm looking toward just finding out more about it, or maybe doing a presentation at the Engineers Club. Who's the contact for what happened there?
So that's Dodge the Blondo.
I think that was Jamie.
Yeah, I think Jamie was the PM on it. Wilson was the designer.
Awesome.
But you can reach out to me here.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, roundabouts going well, it seems like, and look forward to trying that one.
Yes, get out nice.
As far as Fed projects go, currently in design on Cornhusker from 72nd to 84th, hoping that 30% plans get turned in here soon. Just started the design on 84th and 96 because there's a chance that it may become a EA instead of a Cat X. Shrem Road, they didn't do an earmark bill last year, so it got pushed, but we're still moving forward with the design. We'll fully fund the design, hoping that it gets selected for earmark funding this year. We're pretty much at the point where the 370 Enterprise will probably let this year. Just from a standpoint is that we don't have any right of way. The environmental is pretty much done. So it's just getting through the blue lines at DOT at this point. Otherwise, things is normal. UBAS, we're getting ready to renew our UBAS contract. We'll probably try to get some more done this year than previous years as our council gave us more money for it. So kind of covers it.
We have a lot going on downtown that's streetcar related. It's a somewhat of a difficult navigation currently. There's a lot of areas that are being impacted by construction pretty significantly, but you have good detours in place, and there are ways to get where you're going. 10th and Capitol is difficult. Riverfront's fairly difficult. A lot of work on Farnham and Harney as well. So we're plugging along all of our contracts at this point. The early packages are on schedule for the most part. We have Utilities West package. It's going in Blackstone right now. That's set to wrap up in December. Utilities East package is the project going on around 10th and Capitol. Also some work on Harney. MUD is doing some work on Farnham and Harney as well with gas related to the streetcar. Our VMF project is going very well down by Convention Center. Bridge projects, contractors way ahead of schedule. We have some coordination concerns with OPBD that could cause that project to lag a little bit, but as far as the construction work, it's going very well. So we are looking forward to a January start, laying track and starting to get some actual rails in the ground. So that's pretty exciting. Those will be cleaner zones. It's very linear, so it's not the hopscotch back and forth that we have with utility packages. It will be a little cleaner, a little nicer, but still impactful. So if you come downtown, please come downtown. Just understand that there's planning that will need to go in and patience that will be had for some detours. The roundabout front, our 205th and Cumberland project is near completion. That project is on schedule for, I believe, at least substantial completion this fall. We may have some cleanup work to do in the spring, but drove it the other day. It looks like it's real close to getting opened up. So that's going all well. Then we have our 48th Street project, which obviously has a regional impact from Sarpy County to south. That project is going fairly smooth and on schedule as well. So other than that, resurfacing maintenance projects underway. We did just get bids back for our AC project on Sorensen and Stores. So that's moving forward. We expect to start seeing some work yet this fall, but the majority of that work will take place in 26. That's panel repair for pretty much the entirety of Sorensen and Stores within city limits. So that's a much needed project. Very bad pavement conditions on several stretches there. And we're looking forward to getting that done. If I forgot anything, Christy can pick me up on the backside. That's all I have.
Nothing to report, Metro.
From a planning standpoint, I guess, since last TTAC, we've had a couple kickoff meetings with or early discussion meetings regarding the new Sarpy County interchange. And the schedule around that. Right as of right now, I guess we're proposing a December 26th delivery for that project. Construction in 27. We'll see how reasonable or realistic that is. Other than that, Christy, you hopefully the other day asking me about I-80. Did you get everything you wanted to know about that?
I did, thank you.
Okay. That's all I got.
I don't think I have anything bad.
No update from planning side.
Don't have any additional updates.
Next Thursday, Beltline Trailhead opening. I have flyers. Hope you can all join. That was a collaborative project with the State of Omaha and with Metro. It is not officially the bus stop, but there are benches and overhead structure with lighting for safety at night. We got all the features included there, reverse angle parking, got some power in the park. So it should be very nice. So I hope to see you next Thursday afternoon for that celebration. The Girard project on the north side of Emmanuel Hospital is moving forward, large retaining wall. That is a precursor to the underpass at 72nd, which is a federal aid project. That federal aid project lists the Girard project as completed. So we plan to initiate that again as soon as we get done with the, or far enough along with the Girard project that we can say it is existing. So anticipated completion there in November. So people will be able to use it starting the end of this year. And then we'll file documents on the federal aid project to get started on the next one. So very interested to talk with those who have recently completed underpasses because those are difficult. And so you got to get started sometime if you want to get it done eventually. Yeah, that's it.
I have no updates.
I want to thank everybody for their patience with the city of La Vista. We had some additional pavement repair funding we had to kind of get out this year. So we had some butt up on Heritage Street up against some of your work, and then 72nd Street kind of late season towards the start of school. Had to catch some of that up. So I appreciate everybody's patience through there. We did a lot of UBAS work, our East La Vista project, which was an overlay through Mount Sunny neighborhood or reconstruction for about 4 blocks of it. That project is finally completed. So a lot of our local roads are in much better shape than they were recently. On the federal aid side, our Thompson Creek Trail project, we recently went through the PCM 0 and red flag. So hoping to get that moving forward in the PE section there. We have some alternatives we need to look at between Keystone and 72nd Street. So we're trying to get that rolling there. Our 84th Street Trail project, where we had some federal discretionary funding. A part of that, we did meet our deadline. We did get it bid here at the end of August. Our contractor has been awarded project. They'll probably start here mid to late October, and that project will go through late 2026 for a good portion of that. 84th Street around the Thompson Creek area, basically city center to Parkview Boulevard will be in head-to-head while we build that span bridge for the eventual underpass. And then we're also working through currently our CIP for 27 to 31, starting to figure out where things fall, what our long-term forecast looks like, and you'll probably need some help with those projects as they become identified. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Just high level updates. We've talked to you about trips. We've done the programming, and this job is gonna continue through for a couple of years. Just note that our staff over at MAPA will be reaching out to you all are partners and key members of what we're trying to do, especially with NDOT. It affects how we manage, look at, and do project selection. particularly as it relates to these MTPs, right? So we're closing the books on this year's MTP. We're gonna get ready for the next MTP in 2030. Trips is gonna be a good part of that. But we will need your cooperation. Some of the key points that we're trying to work through is trying to understand or get a better handle on all these different projects that are happening throughout the region. How do we keep tabs of those? What is a good system that works for everyone? We'll dive into a lot of those conversations in the coming years. Court is going to be leading that, so he's going to be your prime person. But we're just getting our stuff ready. We'll be reaching out to each and every one of our wonderful jurisdictions to have conversations for over this year. I think the other big discretionary funding opportunity was the Reconnecting Communities that we obtained with partnership with the City of Omaha, Spark, Metro, and others to look at the North Freeway and what becomes of it. So we've been super successful with discretionary funding. We continue and hope to continue that trajectory in the coming years, but we'll be very busy in the coming years. So just giving you a heads up. A lot of work and a lot of help from our partner agencies, particularly NDOT and all their help and support that they've led, whether it's data, whether it's talking through, or whether it's applications. We've been doing a really good job at coordinating and being eligible for federal discretionary dollars. I think that's it.
Well, okay, the work we have going, we have some high mast towers. We still have some work to do at 680, at 72nd, 48th, and the Mormon Bridge. We've got some towers up, and they're working on the foundations for the rest. Finally, Highway 6, Dodge, 192nd, that's done. Highway 75 from 34 to Q. Most of that work's done. It's done at night. Right now, they're applying the concrete sealer. So we're getting real close there. It's all night work. Highway 275 from Nebraska 64 to Dodge Street. Pretty much the overlay and cross stitching, crack sealing, ongoing. That's the last thing we have to do is joint crack sealing. They repaired the high friction surface on the Elkhorn Viaduct. I-480 bridge, Missouri River Bridge. We look for a completion in 2026. They're painting the bridges, the deck, the girders, and they're doing deck repairs. And then tied into that is 12th Street to the River Bridge. That should be completed this December. Same thing, deck repairs and bridge painting. And yeah, we'll be done this year. I-80 westbound Q to Giles. We've added a new lane. They poured the outside lane from Q to the bridge. And they poured the bridge deck this week, I believe. And Harrison Street overlay is done. That goes over everything. And the overlay northbound bridge over Papio is completed. I-80 westbound off ramp to Highway 50. It's kind of ties into that last one. They opened up the new lanes for the westbound exit to Highway 50. They're still working on the bridges there. Still have traffic down to 2 lanes while they're doing the deck repairs, and then they'll overlay that when they're finished. Dodge Street, 156th to 132nd. They're doing that's a project that does the interchanges. They do a lot they close them at night and one interchange at a time. And 132nd Street Bridge over Dodge, they got about 2/3 of that done, or 3/4. They got one more lane to do, the northbound outside lane. As soon as they finish up everything, get the guardrail in, when it's finished on the north side, we'll shift traffic and finish up. And then there's another Dodge Street project, 161st to 127th. They had pavement repairs, that's done. They're milling and overlaying 2 inches. Eastbound lanes 1, 2, and 3 are done, which is the inside, middle, and outside lane. And then the westbound inside shoulder in lane 1 completed. Lane 2 is done to 156. Lane 3 is done to 137th. And lane 4, which kind of dies out at 132nd, is done. That's night work, not bothering anybody. We have another little job on Highway 75 and 48th Street, box culvert repairs, and that's underway. And then 72nd and L. That's a viaduct removal. We're going to create at grade intersection. The contractor wanted to tear that bridge down this winter. We said right there, no, we're not going to have head-to-head traffic on a little frontage road on the south side of hell over the winter. So we'll get to that. Right now, they've got the eastbound off-ramp to 72nd and the on-ramp to eastbound 72nd closed because we're widening the existing roadway there, making for this temporary head-to-head pavement next spring. There's going to be several shifts. There's six or seven phases of that thing. Let's shift traffic back and forth. 72nd Street's going to be impacted too. So it's going to be, yeah, right now they've removed the median and that's going to be for a crossover. We'll use that next year. And they're building the temporary sidewalks. So about a mile of those. That's it.
Thanks, Maurice.
I don't.
Map staff, you good? You've talked enough already. Is there anyone online that has any agency updates to discuss? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to discussion item C3, which is additional business. And I just noticed on our agenda, we didn't have a public comment period. So I think the start of additional business will have a public comment. So a few minutes here to open up. If any members of the public have anything they would like to say and get out there for this meeting, speak your piece. Right, hearing none. Is there any other additional business that anyone would like to discuss?
I just had one question. The way I come to work, I take Grover to 72nd. And they have a dual left turn lane. And that striping, I don't know how many side swipes you get at that thing. You gotta cut it short to get around the nose of that island.
Going westbound?
Yeah, westbound to southbound. I just wondered, there's really no arc to that curve. So people are just following it, kind of goes in a straight line like that.
Right. It's got some driveway constraints.
Yeah. I always go to the outside and take a real wide.
I can mention it and we can look into it for sure.
Okay. It's just.
Have you had a side swipe there?
No, but it's been close. That's why I go to the outside, I take a real wide.
I hit that one quite a bit of it's off peak. I guess I haven't noticed it.
Oh, yeah.
We had a contractor stripe something up on Maple several years ago where I think they just straight lined it for some reason. They didn't arc it.
Yeah, I remember that.
We didn't provide geometry, but apparently they didn't understand a simple arc. So I don't know how they ended up doing that. I was in traffic at the time.
I know. I think I did one down at 13th, Missouri Avenue. We had adults early. I forget. I did it on the computers. Yeah, we gotta be able to get these people around here.
Right. Any other additional business?
MAPA's annual dinner's coming up on October 8th. We at Northern Lights in Fort Calhoun. You would like to go register. I don't know when registration closes, probably soonish, within the next week or so. So if you're interested in checking it out, the speaker is going to be talking about artificial intelligence. Can be fairly interesting. And that's all we have. Well, a little bit about the topic.
Okay. Well, yes, there's no additional business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion for there.
Second. Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, everybody.
When
We'll see you next month.